Did you notice how the director in that last piece used the music and editing to create tension? That sort of skill requires ruthlessness in the cutting room. Chuck out the rubbish, not forgetting to save the good shots. And, of course, if it's video, you don't get into this mess, but you do have to press the right buttons. Anyway, we thought it might be an idea to pick up some tips from an editor. So I asked Bob Roots, who works with film and video, about the tricks of the trade.
If you didn't edit a program, you would have a jumble of images which would be unrelated. There'd be no plot, there'd be no shape. Therefore, editing is very, very necessary to bring some sort of coherence out of what, first of all, seems chaos. Well, an editor should be very objective, and therefore he can be quite brutal. I mean, the director's been following this program through from inception right up to the time the editor receives it. Often the director with the cameraman have got into incredible situations to get a shot and think it should be in. And the editor can look at it and say, well, I'm very sorry, it's a wonderful shot, but it's actually irrelevant to the program. And therefore, an editor has to bring a very objective eye to it. And he has to be quite brutal sometimes in cutting sequences out. And other times, he may want to lengthen a sequence that originally the director thought should be shorter. So it can work both ways. But the editor should also have a sense of flow, should be able to see the shape of the program, and with his editing, carry the audience forward through it. And that also brings in a sense of rhythm, which helps the flow of the program. An editor can heighten tension by cutting faster and by building up the cutting steadily so that you start fairly slow and get faster and faster. That will heighten tension. To cut out boring pieces, if it's someone talking very boringly to camera, you can then overlay what that person's saying with other shots illustrating what he's talking about. You can obviously vary the length of shots again and keep them slightly tighter. That would help it make it less boring. An eye for detail is something an editor definitely needs, particularly if he's cutting drama, when he has to watch continuity very carefully to make sure our hand in the long shot is in the same place in the close-up, and for eye lines, and for expressions generally, because that's what makes drama work. People do seem to shoot more on video. The stock is cheaper on video, so that's probably one reason why they do shoot more. And therefore, one, as an editor, should be far more ruthless on editing video than film, because you do have an awful lot of shots which really you don't need. Basic VHS editing is only straight cuts. You can't put mixes in, you can't put fades in. Therefore, you are restricted to the type of cutting you can do. Some people do say it's more difficult than film. It is different insofar as you can't move the sound out of sync to the picture like you can with film. So that can make it more complicated. However, a good video editor should be cutting the same as a film editor. There should be very little difference really in between cutting film and video, except for the mechanical differences. Editing for me is like a jigsaw puzzle. I'm given thousands and thousands of pieces of film, and one has to distill that down to one coherent shape or form, whether it be a drama, a documentary, or whatever. And the enjoyment for me is making all those little pieces down to one and finishing up with something which really you sometimes wonder where it came from. It doesn't seem as if it came out of the rushes you were first given. Of course, it did come out of those rushes. But through editing, one has changed things, moved things around, and created something almost different again.
Now, hardened filmmakers who've been doing it for years will probably agree with Bob. The next one's made by some old hands at the game, the Cine Club at Rochdale, and they've made more films than Cyril Smith's Broken Bathroom Scales. So, here's their latest rendition, Isolated Incident, a thriller with a wonderful twist.
trouble you, but I've had an accident.
Well, what do you want from us?
Can I use your phone?
We don't have a phone.
Look, I'm hurt.
Oh, well. You'd better come in for a minute.
I must have walked miles. Yours was the only light I could see. I was getting a bit desperate. Seemed to have been out there a long time.
Where is it you hurt exactly?
It's my arm. I landed on it. So how long have you been here?
No, we've only been here about 3 years.
Ah, where were you before that then?
We were abroad. That's when we were in Africa.
Edward worked in the mission in the Sudan.
Ah, so that's where the carvings came from.
Mm.
What did you think of it out there?
Oh, I enjoyed it. We used to help my father at the mission. I loved it. In fact, I wish we were still there.
What brought you back?
Family reasons. Well, it's getting late. We'll keep early hours in this house, Mr. Coyner.
Well, I'll go up and make Bob a bed. That will be all right, won't it, dear?
Yes, it's all right if Mr. Coyner stays. So I'm sure you want to be off as early as possible in the morning.
I really appreciate this. Thank you very much. Who? Excuse me. Have you got a telephone? I've had an accident. Yes, so have that. Thank you. My car's a write-off. I've got to try and hire something to get me to Leeds tonight. I'm afraid the local garage is closed. Should be something in here. No. You hurt that? Yes, my arm. I hurt it pretty badly. Seems to be a bit easier now, though. How did it happen, then? Last night. Just as it was going dark. A couple of miles down the road. I skidded on an icy bit. Went right over the edge. Bloody lucky to be alive.
You've not been out all night, have you?
No. I found the farm down there. Where the upper lane.
Not with a mischief fellow, eh?
That's right, yeah.
And he'd let you stay the night?
Yes.
Well, you're the first person I've ever known who's managed to get inside that house. But of course, they keep themselves very much to themselves.
Oh?
Because of that poor daughter.
Helen. What's the matter with her?
No, not her. The other one.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, you didn't see her then. That explains it. You see, they never let her out. It all happened when they were abroad.
Africa.
The story goes that she became a bit too friendly with the local boys. And of course, she goes and catches something horrible. Leprosy, I think. Leprosy.